Hello everybody and welcome to Pravus Gaming and non-copyrighted music. The Battle for Middle-earth. Yes, we're going back to my childhood favorites today, although this is getting into my teenage years because this game released back in 2004. 1 year after the Return of the King and back when EA Games still had the license to create a whole bunch of Lord of the Rings games. Some of them were pretty good. This is one of them. It's an RTS. It's got solid campaigns. It was pretty fun. I enjoyed it a lot. It's hardly perfect, of course. It is a product of its times. It has some limitations, but it is still pretty darn fun. Alas, it's really difficult to buy nowadays because EA Games lost their licenseship. So this is kind of a collector's edition where they don't produce any more of them. You have to kind of either find bootlegged copies or buy them legitimately on eBay or Amazon. So I was talking to some guys on Discord and I found out about it. I'm like, oh my gosh, I still own that and it's worth what, 160 freaking bucks? Holy crap. Now, there is a good and evil campaign in this game. The good campaign follows the typical storyline. It's pretty fun, a little bit easier, I would say, because you have a lot of overpowered heroes. The evil campaign is more of an alternate history. We're going to do a skirmish for you guys today, though. Now, I am going to be playing as the men of Gondor with the men of Rohan as my allies today. And we're fighting against the combined forces of Mordor and Isengard. So in this game, you want to gather your resources, build out your troops, and to help you along the way, you have special powers. For example, in this case, we have Heal, which allows us to heal our units, and Elven Wood, which gets us to place down like an armor buff on the ground when we're fighting. It's pretty useful. Think about more like Age of Mythology. You know, you use your god powers to kind of save you in a moment that's important. Well, in this case, it's kind of using the power of the Even Star or the power of the Eye of Sauron. I don't know. So we're going to go ahead and gather all these settlements right now, because this is one place where you can place down your farms. Now, one thing that Battle for Middle-earth 1 did that Battle for Middle-earth 2 ditched was restricting your build locations, right? You see those circles that are in the either my base or in the base of Rohan? Those are the places where you can build things, and that's it. You can't build them out in the middle of nowhere, right? You're kind of stuck with that. So these settlements become especially valuable because once you run out of space in your castle, you're going to want to continue expanding and getting more resources. So you want to grab all the settlements as early as you can, which is what I'm doing now. Here in the castle, you can actually hire some heroes. We've got Pippin, Faramir, Boromir, and Gandalf the Grey. Rohan, for whatever reason, has a heck of a lot more heroes. It's a little unfair if you ask me, but I guess Gondor doesn't need the help, right? So we want to go ahead and use one of these circles here to create, let's say, some basic military buildings like a Gondor barracks. This is where we'll build our soldiers and tower guards. One thing that's a little bit unusual in Battle for Middle-earth is your buildings level up just like your units. The longer you use them, the more things you produce, they eventually level up, and you can't unlock certain types of units until they have leveled up. So you want to get them pretty early on and just train some of your trash units with the intention of unlocking better units later. Now I'm a little concerned there's going to be a cave troll over here. Is there a cave troll? Yep, there's a cave troll. Okay, we are not nearly strong enough to fight a cave troll right now, so we can't get that settlement. So abort! Instead, I'd like to grab this outpost if we can. An outpost gives 3 different building plots, so you can build whatever you want. In my case, since this is far enough back in the map that I feel like it's pretty safe, it's a good place to place down 3 farms and really ramp up my economic output, if possible. There is only one resource you have to worry about. It's just called resources, and everyone has them. It's Command and Conquer in that style. We're not talking an Age of Empires style RTS. So you just want to gather as much of one resource as possible and use it effectively. I'm going to train up a few extra troops, and we're going to see if we can secure a few more positions. I wouldn't mind fighting some of these goblins if we can. They're just a neutral NPC thing that kind of randomly spawns, like the cave trolls. You kill them, take out their base, you get some treasure. But also you get to have a little bit more even star power. I'm going to try to use my... There we go. We can use... Elven Forest. There we go. 50% extra armor for my units to make them last a bit longer. Fighting is really important in this game because it is the only way of charging up the even star if you are the good guys or the Palantir if you are the bad guys. And that is how you unlock more and more of your special powers. I call them god powers because I'm just so used to Age of Mythology, but that's obviously not what they really are. Go ahead and build up an extra farm. Yeah, so fighting becomes really important. And because this game is a little bit slower paced, focused entirely around one resource, lots of upgrades for your units, and you want to constantly fight before you can have a huge advantage over your enemy, there's a lot of back and forth, kind of like a giant long tug-of-war. Like a skirmish is not something you just rush down your enemy and suddenly win. Although maybe you could do that, I don't know. But it does take a bit of effort. There is a lot of back and forth. It's a long, drawn-out marathon of a skirmish, I would say. Uh-oh, one of my farms is being attacked by the Urukai. All right, well, we have 4 Gondor footman soldiers available now, so I guess we'll go ahead and do that. This blacksmith can be pretty important for you. It does let you train up upgrades. Upgrades become incredibly important to make your units more effective because the population cap is actually kind of small, in my opinion. You can't field an absolutely massive army, so you want to get as much value out of them as possible. Getting banner carriers to automatically level them up to level 2 and letting them regen lost units is very important. Armor, better weapons, makes them last a heck of a lot longer. Rohan, in particular, can be kind of fun, because if you can get a bunch of Rohirrim up to max upgrades, they will shred through almost anything. The exception being Isengard's pikemen, which can kill pretty much anything no matter how much you have them upgrade. That can be a little bit sucky, but besides that, they're really freaking good. And it becomes kind of hilarious in the campaign, because something that, we're going to go ahead and build a defensive tower on the walls here. Something that Battle for Middle-earth 1 did, that Battle for Middle-earth 2 decided to get rid of, is letting you transition your armies between maps in the campaign itself, right? Because it doesn't make sense. You spend all this time building up this really large army, and you win a skirmish, and then you win this territory, and then you go to the next one, and you have to start all over. Why not just bring the army you had before? That's what Battle for Middle-earth 1 does. But if you start with a really well-upgraded army, you just obliterate everything in sight. The Rohirrim are grossly OP at that stage of the game. Heroes plus Rohirrim win everything. Let's go ahead and pick up heal for free. Well, I say for free. 1 point. Whatever. More soldiers to the fray. Let's go! Now, I have enough foot soldiers that I think I could try to make a little bit of an incursion against the enemy. Try to cross the rivers. Maybe we can take out one of their settlements. Anything to reduce their resource production could be nice. Do I need... Workshop would be nice for some siege weapons. Those can be pretty good. Maybe I just want... No. More blacksmiths do reduce the cost of upgrades. That can be valuable. Marketplace, economy upgrades. I think I'd rather go for... I think I'd rather save it for the workshop. Whoa, we are under attack. Okay, many things to fight here. The good news is men generally are a lot better than the orcs. Let's use our heal to make sure we have a bit of extra oomph as we continue to fight. So yeah, good guy units are generally better. The bad guys usually, at least Mordor, typically wins by swarming you with cheap units. Isengard is a bit more balanced, I would say. But we should be able to obliterate with this many troops as of right now. And then go try to knock out some resource production for Mordor, if possible, before they get too strong. Oh, look, they left some treasure from a goblin camp or something. I like that. Oh, lots of treasure. Let's just grab all of that. And we're going to get ourselves that workshop that I was talking about before. That could be useful. Another blacksmith is not necessarily a bad idea. Reducing the cost of upgrades can be nice, but I think I'd rather just have some more static defenses. Static defenses are very, very powerful in this game. They have an incredibly good range, and if the enemy doesn't have very good armor, then they tend to get shredded. All the more reason that siege weapons become very powerful later in the game when you're finally ready to assault the castles. Oh, you got a lumber mill, do you? Not for long, you don't. Wow, they built a lumber mill over my farm and I wasn't ready. Okay, well, we can try placing down some armor for Rohan since they are my ally. And since they're getting swarmed right now, anything to give them a slight advantage could certainly be helpful. And let's heal to prevent the archers from killing all of my units. Ranged units are really, really strong in this game, especially if you upgrade them with fire weapons. They can be outrageously good. Gondor's rangers are amazing because they can get stealth in the trees, and with fire arrows, they'll wreck everything in frickin' sight. You gotta love that. In Battle for Middle-earth 2, which I might do as another video, I don't know, you can play as Angmar, and they have dark Numenorians with ice arrows, which are really, really good as well. Now, see, right here, I can tell that the orcs have upgraded their orc pit several times just from the sheer number of units they're training. And even though I know I'm going to take a lot of losses here, by destroying this, I'll make them start over with a rank 1 building, which should reduce, 1, the building speed, but also the types of units that they can create, which I think will be very useful. So I'm going to go ahead and make the sacrifice just to slow down their production, and that'll make it a little bit easier for me to overtake them in the future. Now, my units are a little weak right now, so I'm mostly concerned that he might train up his own cave troll, because Mordor likes to do that. I think I hear one, or it's the building. I'm not too sure yet. Oh, nope, he got a cave troll. Crap. All right, we might be able to kill this in time. I'd like to think that we could. But cave trolls are really, really strong, and it actually might be strong enough to wipe out my entire army, because they can hit multiple units at a time. Like that. Boom, ba-boom, ba-boom, ba-boom. Okay, we're going to lose our entire army to this one freaking troll, and I do practically no damage. Run! Run away! See, we can train up some fire arrows on my archer units now, but it does cost a full 450 resources for every unit, which is quite a bit more than the unit itself. This is why I'm saying this game is really about the upgrades. You want to have a good, solid full, you know, maximum population limit kind of force ready to go. But really, if you have the best upgrades, you're going to win. Oh, good. The troll is attacking my farm. I mean, I've got fire archers now, so maybe we can kill that. I mean, fire archers are really good at shredding through the heavy units. Like the trolls or the giant Oliphants that Mordor will eventually send my way if I'm not fast. Those things hurt a lot, by the way. One of the most fun things in the game, actually, is that trampling is a mechanic. If I had cavalry, and I was playing as Rohan, for example, I could have a huge force of horses just go charging past the enemy, not attacking them, just past them. And if they don't have pikes, usually it just shreds right through them, knocks them all over, and tramples them to death. So I don't even have to worry about, staying and fighting. I don't have to take any damage. It's really strong. Oliphants do the same thing. That was a misplaced trebuchet shot. Why did you do that? I don't know. Oh, good. We can finally get some of these upgrades going for my other units as well. Yeah, that'll do a lot to make me more effective. Now, somewhere on this map is Gollum. He's hidden until you get close to him, so I don't know if we're ever going to find him or not. You can kill him. I think it just gives you a lot of experience and not much else. In the second game, if you kill Gollum in your skirmish, you can get the One Ring. And if you bring the One Ring to a castle, you actually can get either Sauron as the bad guys or Galadriel, Queen of the Storms, or whatever she's called, as like a superhero unit. Like, outrageously freaking strong. Expensive, but strong. Yeah, I might actually need to do a second video on Battle for Middle-earth 2 sometime in the future, because that was a really good game. It played differently. They changed the mechanics, but it was really good, and I liked that the campaign was different from the movies. Also, who doesn't like playing as the frickin' Witch King of Angmar? I mean, come on. He's awesome. I think one of my greatest complaints of this first game, though, is that the camera angle is not the best. You can't zoom out further, so it's a bit of a pain. Oh, crap, another troll. It's not the best. There are, I think, some ways of, like, hacking the game options file to try and fix that, but I've never had any really good success with it, so I don't know. Oh, crap. Well, see, that's another thing that trolls do, by the way. They go into death throes and start knocking around everything around them if you're not quick to kill them. Whatever. I might lose most of this army, but we're going to go ahead and try to do some economic damage to these guys while we can. One of the things that really surprises me is that we have not gotten a lot of even star power yet, despite the fact that we are fighting fairly regularly. I mean, now we've got 2 points that I can spend on the next power, but we want to save up for 3. Yeah, I mean, yeah, you really want to be fighting pretty much non-stop in this game. Again, like I said, it's a non-stop tug-of-war if you're playing it correctly. So that's the way you really power up. Now, some of the final powers get really freaking strong. Oh, crap. Okay, let's try to kill that troll before it becomes a huge threat. The good guys can get Ents and stuff. The bad guys, if they have 20 powers to spend, can get a Balrog of Morgoth, which is really freaking strong, as you might imagine. Oh, there's the Eye of Sauron. Hi, guys. Hi, Sauri. What's up, buddy? Let's go ahead and get the Elven Archers. We'll heal my units and keep them going a little bit longer, and then let's hire up some of them. Thank you, Elrond, Lord of Rivendell. Bring forth your elves. Now, elves become a whole faction in and of themselves in the second game. And in the beginning game, it's just the good allies, Rohan and Gondor, and that's pretty much it. But yeah, these are cheap, expendable units. They are time-sensitive, so eventually these elves will just despawn, so letting them be the meat sacks that kind of absorb all the arrows is good. A little bit of extra DPS, also quite nice. But yeah, I mean, we'll use them to a great effect, I think. Now, I'm really annoyed that the enemy keeps building all these new towers. This is one of the downsides of the fighting against Mordor or Isengard. They can't have walls in their castle, but they can build really cheap towers all around. And those static defenses add frickin' up, man. They add up a lot. All right, let's destroy that Haradrim Palace. Haradrim? Haradrim? I've heard it pronounced a few different ways. Yeah, case in point here. Even though I had the superior force by a long shot, the fact that the enemy has been able to build all these static defenses has been whittling me away a lot. So I'm going to end up losing pretty much all these units, but at least we did some significant damage to him. Ooh, Firestone upgrades. You might imagine a trebuchet with significantly higher siege damage can be very valuable for me. All right, well, we've managed to retrain up an army pretty quickly and at least get them some level 2 upgrades so they'll fight a little bit more effectively and regenerate units that get killed, which can be pretty helpful. So, let's make sure they didn't take this outpost and then try to finish off Mordor. I have no idea what's going on with Isengard because I'm not seeing them anymore, so I'm wondering if my ally in Rohan already finished them off. If so, then the computer is better than I am. On medium difficulty, the computer actually is strong enough to beat me pretty well if I'm not careful. So it's entirely possible that I got lucky and Rohan just wrecked. I love the Elvish horn. Gosh dang it, Peter Jackson was such a frickin' genius when it came to the Lord of the Rings. It was so good. I mean, The Hobbit sucked. But the original trilogy was so darn good. My wife and I still like to sometimes marathon our through in like one day. The entire series. It's so good. I can't believe that stuff came out in like 2002. At least the first one did. Man, am I that old? But they're still good. They're still so good. Roar, I hear Ents somewhere. What you doing, Treebeard? You all mad? I don't know where the Ents are, but I'm hoping Rohan's going to use them to help somewhere. Well, anyway. Yeah, I won't pretend to be like some sort of, ooh, let's get some Rohan allies. Free cavalry. Super, super duper strong. Yeah, we can finally show you how the trampoline mechanics work, maybe. Anyway, I won't pretend to be like some sort of a huge Lord of the Rings buff. I mean, I sort of skimmed through the Silmarillion. Beyond that, I just kind of, you know, read the old J.R.R. Tolkien books because, I mean, who wouldn't when they're in high school? So there's a lot of Lord of the Rings lore and stuff that I don't really know, so I won't pretend to be an expert. But holy heck, do I love this series. It's so good. All right, let's go ahead and try to finish off the center of their castle so they can't build any new stuff. Get this tower down, and I think we win. One thing that's a little bit annoying in this game is pathing. It's not always intelligent for the melee units. Sometimes they kind of run around in circles, not really doing anything effective, but yeah, whatever. Anyway, I think this is the last tower, and then we win if Isengard's not on the map, and they're not shown anywhere, so I have to think so. Maybe? You can see, by the way, the glowing lightsaber weapons over there as we upgraded our melee weapons for some units. I like that everyone gets lightsabers. Not really, they just kind of glow like Sting, but whatever. There we go! Victory is mine! Okay, we didn't do too badly. I mean, Rohan outproduced the crap out of me. So many more units. They also lost a lot more than I did. I don't know. It's a really fun game, guys. I wish I could recommend you guys go out and buy it, but because it's not produced by EA Games anymore, the only way to get it is by buying some copies that already existed. Which means going to eBay or Amazon, and if you got 100 or 200 bucks you're willing to spend on a nostalgic Lord of the Rings game, go for it. Otherwise, I'm afraid to say that this game is going to pass out of memory in the near future, but at least for me, it brings back good memories. Thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If so, then I ask that you hit that like button, leave a comment, and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time.